You ready, Pat?
Yep.
Yep, we're ready. All right, so Happy New Year and welcome to Dallas Center Grimes High School, to the stable where we have Little Hawkeye Conference basketball between the Dallas Center Grimes Mustangs and the Indianola Indians visiting here tonight. I'm Christine Megason along with Pat O'Brien, and we had a great girls game. Dallas Center Grimes able to pull out the victory really in the fourth quarter. And then now we have the boys game on tap. So Indianola enters in at 2-5, but 2-1 in conference. Dallas Center Grimes, they are 4-3 and 3-0 in conference. So both off to a pretty good start conference season-wise. And, you know, interesting about Dallas Center Grimes with that 4-3 record, I feel like it's a little deceptive, Pat, because those 3 losses that they've had have all been to ranked teams, to number 5 Johnston in 4A, and then to the number 5 ADM and number 8 Des Moines Christian in 3A.
Right.
So your 3 losses that you have are to all ranked teams, and who I thought Dallas Center Grimes played really toughly.
Yeah, and we talked about this in the girls' game too. The strength of your non-conference schedule sets up how you do and all the diversity that you have in there, so that you don't have that as many learning moments in conference play, because that is the objective, is to win the conference championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking with Coach Rankin this week, he said, you know, obviously that is what they're working towards. He was really pleased with their victory against Norwalk on Tuesday. Norwalk is always tough. I mean, we've had years, Pat, where it's gone to 4 overtimes.
Yeah.
Remember one season we went to 4 overtimes, and the other game we went to 3 overtimes. So it was like 7 overtimes. We always play them tight, so to pull out the 2-point win was nice. So he is saying he's very pleased with their preparation so far. He mentioned Tate Perrin and his leadership on the court and just how crucial that's been for the team.
And you and I have been seeing that for years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
He's been starting since he was a sophomore, right?
And that's very hard to do on a Mustangs team that has so much depth and so much quality depth. Yeah. Seniors, juniors. I mean, to be able to play as an underclassman is a major feat at most of the Little Hawkeye Conference because just the level of basketball that it is.
Yeah, I mean, let's use Indianola as an example tonight. They are starting 4 sophomores, 1 senior. So talk about youth. A lot of these sophomores were starting even last year as freshmen. As Indianola is rebuilding their team, they had a lot of graduates a couple years ago, and now they're rebuilding. And so they have 4 sophomores starting and with getting a lot of minutes, led in scoring by George Blake, who's a sophomore at 15.1 points per game. The thing about Indianola is that last year they were just freshmen, and the game was so fast. You could just see it. Right. And this year we're seeing them. They've adapted. They're growing in confidence. George Blake, he has always been a player who could light it up, especially from the three-point line. But what we're seeing out of him is that he's putting the ball on the floor and driving to the basket now. So we're just seeing growth and maturity, I think, out of Indianola.
Yeah, and you look at this series over the last 16 games is 50-50.
Yeah.
8 wins, 8 losses on both sides. So, so this is going to be the tiebreaker. Today's going to be the tiebreaker, but you look at some of the great basketball players that Indianola has produced, and it goes back a long ways. Yeah. Braden Dre, Drew Kingery, Brady Blake was very good for this team. And now George, like you mentioned, is right there paving his path and a long number of great basketball players for Indianola.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing we talked about DCG girl on the girls' side is that we had 3 players averaging in double figures, 1 at 9 points a game. So 4 players all in that double figure mark. Boys' side of the things, it's really the Kyle Kaysen show. And we interviewed Kyle during a senior spotlight during the girls' halftime. Kyle is averaging 23.4 points per game for the Mustangs. The next closest person for us is Tate Perrin, that we mentioned, 8.7. And then it drops down to 6, 6.6, 5.7, 3, 3, 2. How does Dallas Center Grimes get more of their guys involved is on the offensive side, or are we content to let it be the Kyle Kaysen show? Well,
the day is going to come where Kyle gets the norovirus or norovirus or where or something that he's not, or his shot is off. It's going to be off. It's going to happen, but it's really nice when you got somebody can fill it up like that because that drives a lot of defenders towards him. But we have players that can score. And I think when you have a scorer like that, you tend to go that direction probably more often than what you should. But you can take anybody out there. I mean, we got a freshman out there right now in Perrin that has the ability to go ahead and take some of those shots, but he hasn't had to. Tate Perrin can take those shots. How much are we getting on the open court and things like that? So we have the tools there, but you're right. It's really risky when you have one person scoring a lot of your baskets.
Yeah, well, and it could be just the simple math that Coach Rankin has continued to play 11, 12, 13, up to 14 guys in the rotation. Normally he really tries to narrow it down and plays kind of like an 8-man rotation. He has continued to play a lot of guys, and when that's happening, everyone's playing fewer minutes, and so it's harder maybe to rack up some of those numbers. Maybe everything's just a little bit more spread out amongst a lot more guys.
Yeah. And everybody that's on that court has to be an offensive threat. I mean, you have to have the mentality, because you get down in that 10-second range on the shot clock, you might be the best option for that shot. So you have to have the confidence to take that shot and hit it down.
That's right. I asked Coach Rankin, what are some of the things that they were able to focus on over the Christmas break? He said they really focused a lot on consistency, especially in their fundamentals and overcoming some bad habits. And, again, as far as Indianola, he had good things to say about Indianola, what an improved team that they are, how hard they play. George Blake, he mentioned, obviously he could always shoot it, but he's putting the ball on the floor. And then that Indianola is going to change up defenses. They run a lot of good stuff, and so it's something the Mustangs are going to need to be aware of. So we are wrapping up. We're getting ready to go down for player introductions. We'll go there now.